Hey Stephanie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. So I'm a big fan of your career as a whole and just genuinely love kind of all the different genres you kind of dive into throughout your work, whether it be like a straight comedy like Brooklyn Nine-Nine or In the Heights and diving into a musical. And then this is also just like so different in tone from kind of characters you've played. What is it about this show in particular and this character that made you want to be a part of Twisted Metal?
I when I first heard about this series and that Reese and Paul Wernick were executive producing it, I really wanted to read it because that tone that they do so well, that sort of like ridiculous gallows humor,
Mhm.
action kind of balance that they create. I was just like, I want to see what this is. And then reading the scripts by Michael Jonathan Smith. Michael Jonathan Smith is our showrunner, and he's absolutely incredible. And he really took their idea and developed it into the world of Twisted Metal. And I just thought he really captured that tone. He knows what that is. He's so funny. He's such a great writer. The writing staff that he collected together told this story that I thought was really smart. It didn't play, like sometimes I think comedy plays down to its audience. And I like comedy that assumes that I'm smart. And
Mhm.
this show, I think, really assumes that its audience is smart. Um, yeah, I just really liked honestly, it was the writing. I mean, I read all 10 scripts before I auditioned for it, and I raced through those scripts. I was reading them out loud to my husband and sister because I couldn't believe what I was reading on the page. And I thought it was so funny, brutal, hilarious, violent, strange, like something like nothing I'd ever read before. I mean, that's really what it is like in a nutshell, I had never seen a post-apocalyptic world done like this, and I wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah, and it's so fascinating too because we talked way, way, way back when pre the end of the world at like
Yeah.
the MVC parties
Uh-huh.
about how you like comedy that is like doesn't assume everyone that's watching it doesn't have brain cells. Like
Right.
it's comedy you have to stop and think about. And that's so fascinating because it does apply to this show. Like I was laughing out loud listening to Champagne Supernova in like an apocalypse show. Like the one album you're gonna save
Right.
is the
Right.
Oasis, but
So
like like you said, it's an apocalypse show, and it's so kind of like sad in a way to see her kind of like the moment we sort of actually meet her, it's her and her brother, and they're captured, and then like obviously the end of that first episode kind of sets up where we're going throughout the season, and so when you do have these quick little like relationship moments that we have so briefly in the show, what did you kind of do as an actor to like approach those relationships with your fellow actor and like make them so real so quickly?
well, thanks, because that's a really nice compliment to feel like they landed and felt real to you. I, you know, I really like think about what their history is. To me, like when I think about connection to another character, I think about their history. And I just make up stories about what their history is. And particularly with Richard Cabral, who plays my brother, it was really easy to do. He's such a brilliant actor. He's so talented and he's so giving and he's so funny as a person. And so, we bonded really, really quickly just hanging out on set while we're waiting for shots to set up. We just had a lot to talk about. And I think I really adore him as a person. I think he's so wonderful. And so some of that I brought in to the relationship. But I think, yeah, I mean, as a general answer, as an actor, what I do is like, I just make up stories in my head about like what they've been through, who
Mm.
they are together, what their history is, what are their inside jokes. And I just let my mind wander about that stuff and I let my imagination play. And that's really fun for me to make up that stuff in the back of my mind and have it there and know that it's there. And I hope, hopefully it fills up the relationship on screen.
Yeah, and what is so cool too is like the first time we get to meet her, it's only her eyes that we get to see, which
Mm-hmm.
I think is so fun because it's like obviously there's different techniques you use as an actor. Like you know voice acting, you did a great job in Encanto about with Maribel, but like this is so different because it's like she can speak and stuff, but we're just looking at her eyes and we're kind of on that journey with her. Was that something that was fun for you to kind of explore, like that first introduction with a character?
Yeah, I mean, to me, one of the most interesting things about what I do is how, and especially I would say on film and television, because like in theater, it's different. I've done a lot of theater, and
Mhm.
like theater, depending on where you're sitting in the house, you can't necessarily see like what's happening on an actor's face, but you can see the physicality of what they're doing. And I think because I do think the audiences are really smart. I think in a theater, even if you can't see it, you can feel it. Like you can feel what
Mhm.
that actor is doing. I think on film and television, you can see it, you can see everything. And so like if you as an actor are just like giving over to the story and just like letting it hit you instead of trying to do something, right? Like you're
Mhm.
not trying to do something, you're just doing it. You're just like living it, really pretending and playing like it's real. The camera will pick up all of that. It will see all of that. It is the eyes of the audience. And so I don't know. I found it really fun. I found those first, I'll say this without it, like, I found the amount of time that I was not able to use language in this series really fun as an actor because all I had to do was look around and react to what was happening. And like, also, not for nothing, I didn't have to learn any lines. So that was great.
Yeah, and like for lack of a better way of saying it, it's cool as shit to meet a character and instantly kind of know what her deal is when it's her eyes and then she like flips a guy off. Like I was like,
That's great. Thank you. That's very
got
cool.
her, got her, got her. Thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait for people to get to see Twisted Metal.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you liked it.